that's cool that we have both like Nike tops.
We could get sponsored.
Can you quickly show your watch to the people on YouTube?
Oh, are we on?
Yeah.
We are on.
Yeah,
oh
we're on.
Shit. So, yeah. Here.
That's
I
a
got
really cool.
roasted. I told you before. I got roasted the other day from my friends. They were laughing at me and asking me if I found it in a Kellogg's box or a Happy Meal.
Losers.
Yeah.
They don't know what fashion is. This is a fashion statement.
Actually, it was a present by my mom.
She's got good taste.
Right?
That looks really nice.
Thanks, Mom.
When did you get it?
Not too long ago. A few weeks back.
That's cool.
Looks fresh. Look.
That looks really nice.
Yeah.
I really want to get the.
I need to find. Yeah.
I want to get the Casio. You know the one that looked like the Royal Oak. It's I think it's a pentagon and it's transparent. Looks really nice.
Oh, is it the same style? Like the same
Kinda, I think
version?
It has like dials.
Oh,
But it's
okay.
G-Shock as well.
The round one though.
It's a pentagon.
I know which one. Yeah.
I'll show you a picture after.
Okay. Do you have one?
I know. I really want to get one.
Okay.
So we'll see. I
So-
saw like ads on Facebook.
Whoever wants to do a present to Romain,
Yeah.
there you go.
Send me. Go on my OnlyFans.
We'll put the link. We'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah. Send me shit. Welcome to another episode, batch 2. So we have new clothes. That's
Yeah,
cool.
We changed.
We're
once.
wearing white today because the last time we wore black and they didn't work. But anyways, if you're on Spotify, you don't really give a crap about this. Today's episode is going to be a really interesting one. My mic is way too high. It's going to be a cool one. We're going to talk about gear because gear is something that's really dear to my mind. And I think Phil wants to play
Yeah,
this.
that one. Do it.
Gear. Oh, yeah,
So
gear.
Each time Romain is gonna say gear, I'm gonna try to hit that one. And so I'm sorry in advance.
You're starting early. No, but today we wanted to talk about owning gear or versus renting gear, because this is something I think a lot of people, especially when first starting off, are facing, especially in the filmmaking industry, where whether you're more in the camera department or grip or whatever, there's new gear coming out all the time, and it can get, I think, kind of overwhelming to some extent.
A lot of people start out with it. A lot of people start, especially beginners. They start talking, what camera do you use?
Yeah.
How'd you do that? And then they get overwhelmed with the whole thing. And there's honestly, I mean, my YouTube as well. My YouTube is full of videos of new gear.
Yeah.
And
Always.
man, it's each week there's a new fucking gimbal. There's a new kind of GoPro.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
It's crazy. And I think GAS, it's called GAS, it's Gear Acquisition Syndrome. I think it's a real thing.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think when people, especially when you first start off, you don't really know what you need and you don't really understand like why you need this and why you don't need this. And I think people just go on YouTube and you see like all these YouTubers, saying, oh, this gimbal is going to change your life, or you need this light in your life.
And actually what is different is like one little function that you might need once a year.
Yeah.
You
And chances are, if you're new in the business, you don't
You're
need
not
that
gonna
function.
need it, no.
And I also think, to your point, to answer your point, like, especially people starting off, like, they're obsessed with gear. I think it really comes down to gear is like an easy upgrade compared to like skills and like knowledge and everything. So it's always easy. Oh, I got the new camera, so my movies or my films are gonna look much better. But it's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, and you're not sure why your stuff doesn't look like the people you follow and you look up to.
Oh yeah.
So the first thing you might you see a behind the scenes photo and you see, oh shit, he's got the new red and he's got this gimbal and it might be this,
I think when I see people shooting on really high end stuff, it like most of the time looks really good. I think the camera or like the gear plays a part in it, but also people who shoot with like higher quality stuff tend to have like more experience and knowledge, and this is why
Most
their
of the
shit
time.
looks
But unfortunately, or not unfortunately, whatever, there is the other way around. There is people that really have the money somehow, or the resources to get the equipment like that big productions and whatever has, but they don't shoot the stuff that you
No.
usually see from these things, and
And it shows.
they are ahead. Like they have stuff that they don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
I especially saw that when the Komodo came out because
Yeah.
it was an affordable red. I think you have one, right?
Yeah, I do have one. I
Um,
love it, by the way.
Yeah.
Another episode about this.
Shout out to Red.
Shout out
If you wanna
Red.
send some red stuff to
Hey,
Romain.
Ari, if you listen to this, I didn't say that, and you can send me the Alexa 35. No worries. I'll take care of it. No worries.
When that camera came out, so many people that were new or like beginner, not even beginners, just new to the game and everything, they bought that because it was like what, 5,000 for just a camera?
Yeah, the brain is like 6K.
Or 6.
Yeah.
And then you need some batteries, maybe a monitor. Or
Yeah.
You need a monitor.
Yeah.
And you're fast, ready to go. You don't need that much. You need media, you need batteries, and you need a monitor.
Yeah.
And you're good to go. So you land at maybe, if you go cheap, 7,000.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were able to afford it, and you could tell these people don't know how to use a camera like that because it's not like a Sony. You just turn on, put a profile picture on, and you shoot.
Yeah, it has a lot of
You
downsides.
need to do a lot of stuff. You need to understand how Brett designed the camera, what it is for, and how you can get around that. And if you know that, then you can get an amazing image.
Yeah, of course. And I think it shows a lot because I'm on the Red user, the Red Komodo user Facebook group, and we talk a lot about like the Red Komodo like problems and stuff like this. And sometimes there are people selling it, and I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, I bought it, but I think I'm gonna get an A7S III instead because I like it has like 10 hours on it. Who wants to buy it from me?" I think the marketing from Red was really good, like because like all the pictures all the videos they put out was really great, and the Komodo is an amazing camera, but so is like 99% of the cameras coming out today.
Exactly.
And I think it was a lot of people were putting the Komodo in the same range as the Sonys, the A7S IIIs, and like the mirrorless cameras, and they were really disappointed when they first got it, and
when they realized that the image straight out of camera in the editing software, it doesn't look like you expect it.
Yeah, talking about this, I'm on another Facebook group and for Black Magics, and I saw a post of some dude. Like I don't want to diss anyone, probably just starting off and he doesn't know better, but he posted a picture of something he shot that afternoon, and that was the log profile, like the log picture, and he was like, "Here's a picture that came out of my Pocket 4K or 6K, whatever. I don't understand. It doesn't look cinematic to me." I was like, "Dude, this is the log footage. You didn't do anything to it. You didn't light properly."
Yeah.
So I think that's like a big misconception when it comes to cameras. Like, you just hit record and it looks really good, and they don't spend time like understanding like
exactly
the lighting
designed for that.
Yeah.
But just briefly, I think some people might be asking, yeah, but what do I look for? I mean, it is overwhelming, like we said, with the cameras and everything and the specs, and you can do this and that, and now we can do this in 12K and 13K. What do you really like? What can you look for?
Well, I think when
we talk about the it's always like the cinematic image.
Cinematic,
but what is the cinematic image?
Doesn't mean shit, because like I've seen videos on YouTube, people shooting on like really old like Canon cameras and whatnot, and like they know how to light, they know how to frame, they know how to color grade, they know how like to like have the editing flow and everything, and it looks really cinematic and beautiful. And you have like people shooting on Komodos that don't really know what they're doing, and it looks like I could have shot the same thing on my phone. So I think the gear itself doesn't make an image cinematic. Like you like what you know and your knowledge and like your know-how is what makes the image cinematic. But I think the camera helps a lot in a sense.
So what do you think people like? What can you look for when you really like?
When you start off?
Yeah. Imagine somebody wants to get into this business.
Yeah.
They want to shoot. Like, what would you really look for? What would you tell them? Look for this in a camera, and it's gonna do good.
I think like the first thing I would say is that don't buy anything yet, and like try to rent or like have a friend of yours who's owning a piece of gear and like try it and like shoot with it for a little while. And by shooting with like different cameras and different lightings and different lenses, you'll start to understand what you like and what you don't like. Because I think there's no such thing as just like, oh, this is cinematic, you have to shoot like at f4 or like t4, whatever. No, like you can have your own style and shoot however you want it. People are gonna like it, people are gonna dislike it. That's just like how it is.
Exactly.
But I think when you first start, try to like shoot with as many different cameras as possible. I know it's tricky, especially if you don't live near like a rental house, and we're gonna touch back on this in a minute. But yeah, I think trying to like get cameras, lenses, try to understand what you like and what you don't like. I think like the most important thing when you first start off is like look at stuff you like and like try to understand why you like them. This is something I did a lot on Vimeo, because like Vimeo back in the days, I think still now, but Vimeo had like a big cinematography like
Still,
scene.
yeah, definitely still, yeah.
And you just look at pictures and like, okay, why do I like this? Do I like this because of the framing? Do I like this because it's like backlit, or and you start to grow your own style. I think there's no cookie cutter type of things that you can say, go get this and this.
I used to do that as well. I used to just like whenever going through Instagram or even in films or videos that I see, music videos, whatever, I would take screenshots of the things I like.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why I liked it.
Yeah.
And later, I have a folder now with like hundreds of images.
Yeah.
And later, I like going through, like every month or two, I would go through, see what I like. And, oh, yeah, this one I really like.
Yeah.
Some things I would kill. Like, I'll be like, I don't like this anymore. Or, it really isn't what I saw then. And after a few, I don't know how long, a bit of time, I realized what it is that I liked, because all the images were kind of the same in that matter, And
that's
like
cool. And do you see yourself like trying to replicate like these images?
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I do as well.
Still to this day. I mean, I'm always influenced by the stuff I see.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we all are. I think everybody on every level is, because like we discussed, art is just sucking in the stuff, doing your own thing with it and putting it out again,
mixing everything together.
But coming back to what you said before, like when you start out, you would recommend renting stuff, so you see what you work with and how you work and what you like. I would argue in the very beginning, it's actually better to have a camera.
Oh yeah,
because I think in the very beginning, I was so happy to just being able to shoot all the time, no matter what.
Yeah.
So I think in the beginning, like if you're really starting out, we're talking really like not knowing what camera settings are.
Yeah.
I would recommend to just get any camera, really, doesn't matter. As long as you can interchange the lenses, so you can maybe swap sometimes, so you understand lens. Because if you have a phone, you don't really start to understand lens, focal length, and what it does to your face and to a room. And so as long as you can do that, honestly, I would argue any DSLR would be fine.
Oh yeah,
for
film,
sure. Of course.
For sure.
1080p, I mean, all the ones can do that. You can get one for like $500 or even less, 350.
Yeah.
With a lens, with a kit, just, a little zoom lens, so you can start to understand the different focal lengths. And I think when I started out, that really helped me, just being able to shoot all the time, any day. Like in the evening when I saw a film and I could just, something came to my mind, I was like, oh, I want to try this. And just like for half an hour, I just set the camera up, try it real quick and play around and be like, oh, okay.
That's cool.
I like that. So I think my tip would be, in the very beginning, just get a really, really cheap. It really doesn't matter what one. No matter the brand, no matter it's even the cheaper the best, the better, because you don't spend any money and you can just try out. Maybe after half a year, you will already realize that's what I like. I need this. And then you can really invest and buy something better, other, whatever.
And that's a really good point, and I completely agree with that. I just think that in this YouTube world, I think a lot of people are too often drawn to like getting the latest, greatest camera, and you have to be really careful with that. So I think your tip of saying, get whatever camera you can get your hands on, whether it might be your parents' camera, to be honest.
Exactly, yeah. Old
just
one from
get
your dad or whatever, your mom.
As long as you can shoot whatever, like use it. But what would you say would be because I think this is where we're going to with this, and I think maybe people who are listening are interested. How, when you start shooting, let's say you have your camera, you start understanding how to light and whatnot, and then you start to do that more professionally, so you have clients. How do you approach owning gear versus renting the gear you have, even now at the stage you're at in your career?
Well, I'm actually in a clinch that because I think in the beginning I was the same way. I started to get gear, and because I noticed that for me, I didn't live near a rental house, so it was using a lot of time to drive there, get stuff. Yeah. And also it's costly in the end, it's not super cheap. There's good options here in Bern. Luckily, there's a Kulturbüro,
Mm-hmm.
which is super cheap. They have, well, for cultural stuff, you can rent stuff really cheap.
Oh,
and they
that's
have really
dope.
good gear,
Cool.
which is cool for the beginning when you do
Yeah.
music videos or dance videos, for your friends.
Yeah.
You can get the stuff there super cheap, and you can try out really good gear for a much less price.
Yeah.
But coming back to your question, I'm still, back and forth with it sometimes. For me, it's clear I need my basic package. I need, for myself, because now that I shoot so much, I can't afford to just run there all the time. And also it's time consuming because you need to put the camera like back.
Yeah.
You need to because people fuck with these cameras. They change the settings. I mean, not even fuck. It's just they have other projects. They need to change all the settings. And if you don't reset it the whole way and go through all the settings and put everything up the way you need it,
Mm-hmm.
then you might come back from a shoot and be like, oh, this was PAL instead of NTSC, or it was the wrong frame rate, or the wrong profile picture. I forgot to go through it.
Or it's in time-lapse mode.
So, for example, so that just was too much.
Yeah,
so I needed the camera, some lenses, basic light.
Yeah, I think the conversation would be completely different if we were living next to like a rental house. I think just so you guys to know, like rental houses in Switzerland are not that popular. There are a couple. There are a couple in Zurich, Geneva, and like in the middle. But like where we're from, Phil and I, there's nothing really that has everything you want. So I think like owning, my advice to like people who are looking into investing would be, try to get the gear you need for what you shoot the most. That means like, let's say you start off and like what you shoot are interviews. Let's say like 80% of what you do are interviews. Try to get like a basic interview kit that will allow you to be more responsive when like the client calls you. You can go, oh yeah, I can be there in like 2 hours if you need to. You can get decent results. And then at the end of the day, if you shoot like 80% of the time interviews, then the gear is basically going to turn into, like the return on investment is going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think when you first start interviews, you need like a light kit, audio kit, and like one decent camera. And then you're good to go. And if you need more stuff, then you can do the extra step and like go to rental house, like call someone you know who has like a different camera, a different light, and everything.
And I think that shifts. In the beginning, the stuff you do, you probably don't, like chances are you don't use lighting in the beginning. You just have your camera, a lens, maybe a microphone. That's it. And you do that stuff more and more.
Yeah.
And then maybe at some point you get to a point where, I saw this interview, they used light, so I want to use light ones. So you rent one.
Yeah.
And you start using this sometimes, but the main part is still this kind of run and gun camera lens and mics setup. And then you start doing more with the light. And you notice now every second shoot is where I'm doing light. So then I start thinking about, I might buy a light because now I use it that often.
Yeah.
And then you might start, start using a gimbal on one shoot. And so you progress.
Yeah.
And as you notice, I use this more and more.
Yeah.
Then you might think about buying it because it comes in cheaper in the end.
100%. And what I do usually is that I tend to look at my shooting pattern for like 6 months is a good base, like a year if like you don't shoot as often. And I look at the gear I need to rent and I go out and rent. And let's say, I don't know, I'm going to give you an example. You talked about light. You say, okay, a 300D aperture, pretty standard interview light. Let's say you don't have one and you find yourself like needing to rent it out like, I don't know, 4 times a month. Okay, let's say the renting price is like $100 per month. And you see like over 6 months, you rented it like 4 times 6. It's like 24 times. Is it? The math is good?
I have no
4
idea.
by 6. Yeah.
I was just nodding like.
So 24 times 100 is like 2,400 Swiss francs or dollars, whatever. And the aperture costs like 1,200. So you can see patterns like this. And at some point you spend more money renting as opposed to like just buying the gear.
Absolutely.
So I think that a good rule of thumb for this is like look at like the gear you use like on your shoots. And if you see that you have like some recurring gears that you get all the time, after a certain period of time, you need to acquire these so you can actually make money off of them. That happened for me for like a small light, like a medium-sized light kit, for instance, and stuff. Because like I was going out and renting it, so I was spending money on gas. I was spending money on the rental, and then I had to go back, and then I was wasting time as well. Time I couldn't like edit and do stuff that I would actually build a client. So yeah, so I think this is a good rule of thumb. Look at what you use for over like a half a year, and like then you'll know what you need. Because like I think filmmaking is really what you need and not what you want type of stuff. Because I really want like a Alexa 35. I want a mini LF.
How?
But I will never own one because it doesn't make any sense from a business standpoint. And you can always go and rent it out, and it's gonna you can like bill it to the client. It's like I don't know, $2,000 a day, and then that's it. You got the RE image and that's it. But there's no point of spending $75,000
Also,
on this.
I think it's important, and I only realized that later, not in the beginning. It's important to see how much, like, how is the value of this item that I'm buying going to be over the time? Because a camera, I mean, we know these days, each month there's a new K added to the resolution of the cameras. Yeah. So, you know, my camera shoots 6K right now. Next year,
which is overkill.
Which
for
is
like
overkill already.
Most.
I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I know, but just in the heads and the whole thing, it will be outdated in a year or two. Yeah. You know, and that's crazy because you spend so much money, you expect it to last. Yeah. And on things like that, like a car, I mean, a car goes down like super fast.
Yeah. You lose like 20% of the value when you get out of like the garage.
Exactly. Yeah. And with other things like lenses have been the same. Like since lenses are there, more or less. What
would you say? That's really interesting, and I 100% agree. What would you say are the items that you can buy and that will probably last, like, unless you break them or lose them, that last like your whole career, or like at least like
lenses for sure. I think. I mean, I'm not in that game for too long to know, but I've seen people, sell lenses from the 60s for more now than they were worth back then.
Yeah, the value of the lens.
If you do the right choice, of course that doesn't work for every lens. Yeah. But if you do the right choice and you do some research, there's enough stuff out there about lenses and what is liked and what has been around for a long time. Yeah. Especially vintage lenses right now are super in. There's really cheap ones, there are expensive ones. Yeah. And the value hasn't gone down
it tends to go up.
It tends to go up actually because they get more rare as they are not produced anymore. Yeah. And some break, some get lost, and there's less and less around, and people like that. So you can't 100% say it's gonna stay, but it's definitely not gonna go down for.
Oh no, yeah. But if you compare it to like cameras and like anything like electronic. Absolutely. The value for money is like, and crazy.
Also honestly, lights, for the longest time, I mean, tungsten lights are now getting out because LED came out, and it's not as hot, it's easier. But honestly, on big films, tungsten is still used. A lot of DPs, they swear on tungsten, they're not going to use anything else. And lights from, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago are still being used. Yeah. So
I think lights,
that's an investment that you can really keep.
Yeah. I think lights, like the tungsten, like the bigger lights, they're going to be used in the film industry, HMIs and whatnot. It's just that now, if you look at like an M18, for instance, compared to like a 1200D aperture, like the 1200D is like so much easier to use. It draws less power. It's like much, much more convenient. So I think, but in general, when it comes to like, to go back to like what we were talking about, lenses is a good investment. I think everything grip related,
sure.
Really good. C stands, light stands, HMI stands, whatever stands, or like Apple boxes, sandbags, combo stands, everything. You probably buy one, you're gonna have it for the rest of your life, unless like something bad happens to it.
And also, if you don't choose the cheapest one, maybe. Yeah.
But even then, I would argue, even if you get like a cheaper C stand, it's gonna be it's gonna last you forever unless you like do something bad with it. Yeah. And that's funny, and I don't know if we're going off track. Do we have time?
Yeah, we have time.
I find myself when I think now in terms of like camera lenses and everything, I'm at this point in my career where I have like most of the stuff I need, and if I need anything else, I just rent. But I find myself buying and like getting more grip stuff. Yeah. Like stuff that are not sexy at all. Like lenses are really cool, and I love lenses, but like Apple boxes, for instance. Apple boxes are so convenient, and we use them on everything. Like remember no, it's not fun. But remember the shoot we went on, and we used Apple boxes in every scene. Yeah, that's crazy.
Like we used it to put plants on, to heighten the plant.
Heighten the
we
camera.
used it to put a kit on it.
Yeah.
We used it to hide the camera?
No, to
heighten the camera,
heighten
right?
the camera, yeah.
We even rigged the camera on it once, right?
Exactly.
It's so many
it's
use
just like
cases,
a wooden box that is way too expensive, I would say, for what it is.
That's the thing.
But it's something that unless like you like a truck like runs over it, like you're gonna have it forever. C-stand, same thing. Combo stand, same thing.
Absolutely.
And even like negative fill, bounce, and everything. Like this shit. If you buy it today, there's no need to replace it really unless it breaks.
I remember the first time I was really buying some serious a RAID.
Yeah.
For storage. And that was my own money, so I was young, and that was my own money making it, and I was like spending it on first the camera, then maybe some lenses, maybe a light, a tripod, gimbal, whatever, and then I had to spend like $800 on a RAID, and I was like, bro, I just got that money. I could buy a nice lens and whatever and have fun with it, and it's an enjoyable thing.
Storage is a bitch.
So then storage came up, and I was like, I have to buy a RAID for all this money, and that sucked so much. But I'm so happy I still have it. I still use it. It's been 4 years, I think.
Hasn't corrupted or anything on you?
Still working fine, and you just have to do that once you get serious with it.
Yeah.
And it sucks at the beginning, but you're gonna. It's if you choose right, and I'm a person. I really go. I research the stuff. Research. I check my stuff. I really don't want to spend. I'm a fan of spending stuff once. I might pay a little more, but then really like having it and not having the headache of like redoing the whole thing and rethinking, re-getting it, resetting up, because that all costs time and in the end money as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I really do that, and a lot of times, sometimes I fucked up, but a lot of time it's been great that having stuff for a long time.
I think this is a really good point when it comes to camera gear. I think spending a little extra money or saving up a little bit longer to get like the better. No, I'm not talking about like cameras, but I'm talking about like grips or lights and everything. It's always going to be better because you're going to keep that thing forever. Because like you can always go for like the cheapest Chinese knockoff. Like
there is knockoff of everything. You can get the cheap stuff, but you're gonna at the end of the day you're gonna spend. And I think honestly, if you don't impulse buy and just be like, oh, I just saw this, they have a discount, let's get it. Yeah. If you really think about some things and let it settle, like think about, I might want to get this lens, and then let it settle for maybe even a few weeks and like think about it sometimes again. Yeah. And if you're honest to yourself, I think you will always. I mean, for me, it works that way. You'll always notice like, I don't really need this.
I don't really need it.
Because if you imagine then, where am I going to use this? How I'm going to use this? Yeah. When am I going to use this? And you will notice, honestly, I don't think I'm going to use it that much. And spending $1,500, $2,000.
That's why renting is really cool. Because like as we were talking about when we were talking about the lenses for your still camera, you were like, oh, I need to rent those to make sure that's a good investment. And I think that's great because like you can spend like maybe a couple $100 to get.
For lenses, it's mostly like $50.
Yeah, and
then you get a day. You take 2 or 3 to compare them.
Do tests
and
So yeah. So just to sum it up, because I think we're getting to our record limit. Yeah. Owning versus renting, it really depends on your location. If you live next to a rental house, it's much easier. But as you said, when you first start off, try to get your hands on like the cheapest, like the what's accessible to you, like the camera. You can get your hands on maybe your parents, your friends. You can maybe get it in like a thrift store or on eBay, really cheap, secondhand. Learn a little bit about this. Try to like see what you like shooting. Is it music videos, interviews, everything? And I start to slowly build a kit that is actually a good that would provide you a good return on investment. Don't buy shit just because like people tell you, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. Because if you shoot interviews and you probably don't need like a mini LF with like 5 HMI, for instance. And then from then on, you'll know what you need, and then as you progress in your career, you'll know, okay, this might be a good investment. This is not. I'm just gonna rent it
and try it out. Just try it out.
Try everything. I think, especially for lenses, because like cameras, you have large format like Super 35, whatever. But lenses, I think lenses is what has the most impact on your images compared to like the sensor. And I think trying out like, I want to try anamorphic. I want to try. Spherical, you want to try this vintage, really new, sharp and everything. Exactly. Like just try everything you can get your hands on and you're good.
Yeah.
We done?
We'll put in the show notes. We'll put some links where you can compare stuff that we use. Maybe we can put some in. And if you have questions,
let us
talk
know.
to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a cool one.
Yeah.
That's the end. Can you beatbox the outro? That was the one. Fucked. I missed. Yeah.